What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with another boxing video. And you guys know what tomorrow is: Miguel Cotto versus Austin Trout on Showtime. And I'm definitely looking forward to this fight. I want to give a little pre-fight prediction and do a little dialogue and discuss why I feel which way. And let's get right into it. So tomorrow, it's really a pick'em 50-50 fight in my eyes. Personally, I would prefer that Miguel Cotto wins. Here's why. One, I've always been a fan of Miguel Cotto, and I think he's a great fighter. He's definitely sharp, three division ex champion, and I've just always liked him. He's very humble and he's a solid fighter. As far as the fights that he's lost, I feel most of those, except for the Floyd Mayweather fights, are fights that, like, we don't know if Margarito cheated during the first fight, since he got caught right after or shortly after in the Mosley fight. So I'm not thoroughly convinced in that particular fight. Miguel Cotto might not have lost that if he didn't have plaster, or who knows if he had it or whatnot. So it's a gray cloud on that particular fight. And then the Pacquiao fight, I do think he was definitely catch weighted and weight drained. Um, don't get me wrong, he would have probably had some problems with Pacquiao's speed and angles, but speed and angles and catch weight fatigue, like all of that mixed into one, I mean, it's just not looking good for Miguel Cotto in a fight like that. Like I said, I don't know if they fought, if he wasn't weight trained, what the outcome would be, because Miguel's a lot slower than Manny Pacquiao. However, he had a better shot of beating him had he not had to come down to do a catch weight. So that's my personal opinion. And he gave Mayweather a tough fight. It was an exciting fight. Um, Mayweather definitely bested him and won that fight and had the more clean, flush, accurate punches. Overall, I still like both fighters, Austin Trout and Miguel Cotto. Um, Obviously, Miguel Cotto has had a longer legacy. He's had more tough opponents to prove himself, so we know what he's capable of. I would also want to see Miguel Cotto win, because I would like to see him fight Canelo Alvarez in Cinco de Mayo on May 5th. I think that'll be an awesome fight, and especially if Cotto looks good tomorrow. Um, as far as the fight realistically, I still think it's 50-50, just because both fighters have advantages. It really depends who gets off to an earlier start, in my opinion, and who like exercises their will faster. So let's start with some of the strengths and weaknesses. As far as Austin Trout, I would say his strength would be his height and his jab. He's clearly the taller fighter. Him using his jab, and he's a pretty slick, stealthy, all around solid boxer. Um, he also has youth on his side. As far as Cotto would his strengths would be his boxing ability, his footwork, and power, as well as just being seasoned. He's had more of these moments than Austin Trout. Austin Trout, I'm not gonna say he's fought bums, but he has not fought anyone the caliber of a Miguel Cotto this far in his career, and it's to be expected in the world of boxing. Like, a lot of fighters get to 20, 25 fights, and they really haven't faced top level opposition. Um, Adrian Broner's one of them, where he's just now starting to tip the iceberg and get better and better fighters. If you look at, I don't know, Adrian Broner fight number 13 or so, I can guarantee you it probably wasn't somebody who was at an elite level or someone who's a household name. So, I mean, sometimes it takes time. For Austin Trout, I do know he's very crafty, he's very stealthy, and he's undefeated. So, fighting an undefeated fighter and someone who doesn't know how to lose, at least this point, can be hard. Another thing is, people underestimate the fighter in which they don't know. Perfect example would be Danny Garcia twice. Danny Garcia against Eric Morales. In the first fight, nobody really gave Danny Garcia a shot because no one really knew Danny Garcia, and everyone knows Eric El Terrible Morales, and you kind of put your eggs in that basket because you know what Eric Morales has done. You can see his catalog, but that night, Danny Garcia rose to the occasion and bested Eric Morales, and even in the rematch, he did that. And also, Danny Garcia versus Amir Khan, even though he had beat Eric Morales, he didn't beat him, and it went all 12 rounds. Eric Morales looked flabby and sick. Even though he got knocked down one time, he still didn't beat him in that convincing of a fashion to the point where people thought he was a new superstar. But then he beat, Amir Khan, and people were like, okay, this guy does have power. His left hook is nasty. So you never know when a new fighter or a new champion is among us. Sometimes they have to show and prove. Now, will Austin Trout do that? I don't know. So, like I said, this fight is really hard for me to pick because it really kind of depends on their training camps, their conditioning, and who gets off to an earlier start, in my opinion. So, I'm riding with Cotto. Ultimately, I want to see Cotto win. I think it'll be a good look for Cotto. Another thing is I don't, like I said, I like Cotto and I don't want to see him lose because at this point, where does he go in his career? If he loses or at least doesn't even look good in tomorrow's performance, where does he go? Where does he go from here? I mean, that means his career is coming to a climax, and I don't want to see that for Cotto. I think he still has more in the tank, and I'm riding with his experience, his power, and his overall boxing skill. So I hope he wins. But like I said, if Austin Trout does defeat him, I am not going to be shocked because, like I said, he's the taller fighter, he's the rangier fighter, he's younger, etc. So I'm looking for a good fight. I want Miguel Cotto to win, but it's really a 50-50 fight. But if I have to pick someone and make a prediction, like I said, I'm riding with Miguel Cotto for the reasons I just described. Let me know what you guys think. Who has the best shot of winning? Who do you want to win? Another benefit for Miguel Cotto is he's fighting in New York, and you know how many Puerto Ricans be in New York, so he definitely has the hometown crowd favorite. So Austin Trout is not only fighting the biggest fight or the biggest opponent of his career, he's also fighting in a hostile crowd. So we'll see. Can he rise to the occasion? Will he? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys subscribe and or comment. And until next video, it's Ego signing off.